Hey guys, a lot of news on the UTSA front today. Head coach Jeff Traylor interviewed for a position at the University of Houston. That is huge. There's one thing to interview for Texas A&M, but in my opinion, there's a whole other thing to interview for U of H. That is huge news. I can't wait to unpack my thoughts on that because I have so many of them. Just a couple housekeeping notes before we get started on this. The live chat, I will be doing it on Wednesday evening. Again, I'll post the start time on Twitter. It's probably going to be around 5:30. So make sure you are there for that so we can kind of go back and forth on this, because I also want to give my thoughts on how the season went. And also, I am going to encourage everyone here to subscribe to my Patreon. Admittedly, I haven't done a ton on there yet because nobody's going to be there to see it. So it'd be great if you guys can subscribe. I want to even build a community there. I'm going to do a lot more writing. I'm going to get back into that as well. It's going to be exclusive to Patreon members, and there's going to be other content as well. So make sure you subscribe to that. And also, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel and like the video. We're trying to build this community. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump into this huge news right now. So Jeff Traylor interviewing for U of H tells me a couple of things. Number one, I think the first thing this tells me is he's not very confident in the resources coming in. I know UTSA has, just recently, as recent as this past week, given him $2 million for his coaches and things like that, because he's been pretty vocal about losing really good coaches because he can't pay them enough. And it's something that's really bothered him over the last couple of years. And, I will say we are trying to do things to keep him, but him interviewing at U of H kind of tells me he's not confident that it's going to happen. That there's someone, whoever it is, within the leadership, within the UTSA brass, he's not very confident and he's not buying what they're selling. That's exactly what that tells me. And the reason it tells me that is, don't get me wrong, U of H is it's a more prestigious job than UTSA. It is. I think we can objectively say that, right? They have a solid athletic program. They've won a lot. They've did some things on a national stage. They're in a bigger conference, obviously, and I get it. It is a move up for him. And one thing he's not going to have to worry about there is resources and money, right? So I think he is probably looking at a situation where, and listen, I'll be objective about this too. I think if I'm honest, if he wasn't a UTSA guy, I would say that's a great fit for him. It is what it is. Just because, Houston loves to spread the ball around. His offenses are spread offenses. He has recruiting pipelines in East Texas. I can tell you from being from East Texas, U of H is a coveted school to go to. And big time players from East Texas go there. Some of their big time players that have went on to the league and done great things have come from East Texas. Think about their big-time quarterback, Greg Ward. He came from my hometown, Tyler, Texas, went to my high school in the heart of East Texas. So, I just think if you just align all the I guess the criteria, I think it would be a great fit for both him going there and them having him as the leader of their football team. But I'm going to tell you why it bothers me a little bit. It bothers me just a little bit because UTSA, although we are in a position, to where we're growing, we're not at a U of H level yet from an athletic program standpoint. But in my opinion, that's not super far off. Obviously, it's going to take time. It's going to take patience. And we're going to have to build blocks. So we're going to have to continue to be a winning program, not only in football, but in other sports as well. But that is, I think, the next step for us, to be honest. And obviously, it's going to take a lot for us to get there. It's going to take a lot of money for us to get there. And, but to me, when I look at U of H, I don't see that as out of reach. Like, whenever I look at Texas A&M, to me, Texas A&M is out of reach. We're not going to get as big as Texas A&M, and we're not going to be able to generate the money that Texas A&M, does, right? That's like, that to me is not realistic, and that's why him interviewing for A&M wasn't a big deal. The way I looked at that is like, that's a huge move up, dude. You're going to go make crazy money. Like, I'm happy for you, bro. Like, it's going to suck, but do your thing. This one stings just a little bit, because would it be a move up? Yes. But is it the move up that I think warrants leaving UTSA? I don't know. Well, put it like this. Here's what I'll say. I can't say I don't know, because it's his decision. He's entitled to make whatever decision he wants. But to me, if he's willing to go to a school like that, which is a great school and it's a move up, I am acknowledging that. But if he's willing to make that move, that means if I'm being honest, that means we're gonna lose him sooner than later. If not this year, he won't be around too much longer. He's, in my opinion, looking to sell while he's hot. He's not confident in, folks who are supposed to be responsible for getting this done in terms of getting money. He has been screaming and yelling about an indoor practice facility for years at this point, and we are a college that makes some money, and we have not been able to do that for him, right? And we have half the high schools in the state of Texas have indoor practice facilities, and we can't get one on UTSA's campus. That's a problem. So I think that, listen, I go back to the videos I was doing before before the season and earlier in the season, when I was talking about donors and things like that. And I got a lot of heat for all of that. People sending crazy stuff to my DMs and saying stuff. But listen, this is what happens whenever the folks who are, and I'm not saying that they're not trying, because I see that they're trying now. I couldn't see that before whenever we had whenever I was doing these videos before the season. I couldn't see the effort. I couldn't see what they were doing to generate funds, and it seemed like we weren't getting money. And we've had some dominoes have fail, and they, like I said, they're moving some things around in the budget and they're trying, but things, to me, it still bites us, right? It still bites us that although that there is effort, it may not be enough effort. And that's why we're in the position that we're in with our head coach and potentially losing our head coach. I think it's inevitable, honestly. I don't want him to go. It's going to suck when he does. I think he's a great coach, and that's why he's a hot commodity, and all the big schools are or at least giving him an interview or seeing what he's about. I think that we have gotten ahead of our skis a little bit as the thing is, I just don't know if we were prepared for this new environment from a football standpoint. Like the NIL piece, we're well behind, and Traylor's right. Like, we have to be able to compete in the NIL stuff to get big time talent. That's just what it is. And all the other schools that we're in conference with are able to do some of those things. He wouldn't have that problem at U of H. I can tell you that. I have some contacts over there. I say that like it's like some special kind. I have people that I know that's around folks in the program, and some of those boys are getting paid. So, it is a weird time right now, and it almost puts you in it just makes you think, though, about like how him, and it being reported so widely and publicly, him interviewing at these places. Here's the thing that I feel, and here's one reason why I feel like the end for him at UTSA is inevitable at this point. And I hate to be like that, but it's probably true. He knows how this is going to impact recruiting. There's guys that they're going and talking to and they're trying to get to commit to the school, but he's interviewing to go somewhere else. That is tough. That's tough because those good recruits that he has, they're committed to the school, but they're going to look at him and say he's not committed to the school. That is a problem. That hurts. And I think he knows that. And I think that anytime you, and I get it, like, listen, it's also good to have a coach that's wanted. Like, people want him for a reason because he's really good. He's really good at his job. But, you know, to me, I think he's operating with a foot out the door, and people are going to see that. Donors are going to see that. And to me, there's this thing of like, oh my God, let's everybody pour in and give him money so he can stay. Dude, I don't like to be like this, and this is probably me being a pessimist, but man, if he's doing this, I don't know if we'll be able to. Let's say the donors do come and give money. You think he'd stay still? I don't know. Like, I just wonder what that conversation would be like to the team. It's like, oh, hey guys, by the way, I went and interviewed at A&M and I went and interviewed at U of H. What does that do for a guy like Trey Moore? Right? Like, you know, do you think people aren't going to want that dude to come play for him? So, you know, I don't know. This stuff it's delicate. I don't know how to feel about it because you can't blame him for – listen, he's been vocal, and I know if he's been vocal to us, he's been vocal behind closed doors. He's been vocal about, dude, we have to get more resources if we want to stay ahead, if we want to continue to be a contending team for titles and have great talent and have great coaches and continue to take UTSA to higher levels. We have to have more resources to do that. Completely understandable. So, like, if he's not – like, here's the thing. Some people will get fooled, and fooled may not be the right word, but some people will get caught up in, oh, UTSA just gave him $2 million to use on his staff, right? And when you compare it to other schools, you know, now he has a significant budget to allocate across, you know, his staff. And that's huge. But that might be one thing on a list of 20, right? That might be one thing on a list of 20. Whereas you can go to, he might have that same list of 20, and he can go to a school like U of H and they can check off 17. He'd be okay with that, right? So, you know, I'm not saying the effort is not, there's not effort that's going in to mitigate some of these issues that Coach Traylor has raised and some of these issues that we as supporters of the program can just blatantly see. I'm not saying there's no effort going toward that, but, and listen, this could be a lack of resources in people who are trying to do this job in terms of raising money. And I think you have to do that, in my opinion, not just with, you know, the people inside, but you got to get the city around that. You got to get, you know, supporters of the program around some of those things, right? Like, you got to get podcasts like this saying, you know, hey, can you give us a shout? Tell people to go donate or something like that. By the way, guys, go donate. But like, you have to do it. To me, it's like an all hands on deck type thing. Like, all hands on deck. Everybody has to come together and kind of help push things forward and try to get some of these things to shake out. But incredibly hard job, I know, but it's just the effort just hasn't been enough to keep him happy. And him interviewing at UH and potentially leaving, or potentially, you know, looking elsewhere. Who knows who comes up next? But trust me, there will be. If A&M and U of H is interviewing him, somebody else will also. So I don't know. Really tough. Another thing I want to point out as well is you also got to think about this, and I'll end here. He's had these group of seniors and these particular players who have helped him become the hot commodity that he is. He was already kind of a hot name whenever we got him, right? But he's come here and he's been successful. And the people who has built UTSA and took UTSA to this level, right? Those people are leaving. Frank Harris is a big one. How many? I mean, think about it. All the media days is him, Frank, and Rashad Wisdom. You know, it's been like that for years, right? So they're leaving, and he has to think about, you know what, it's time to reload. I'm going to have to reload with a brand new quarterback. We're in a brand new conference, a tougher conference. And there are people, most of the conference have more resources to, you know, bring in talent, bring in talented coaches, bring in talented players, bring in talented medical staff and all that type of stuff. He's probably looking around and saying, you know what, all of my you know, I have to kind of like redo this all over again. Maybe I should just move on and go to a situation where I don't have to fight this resource battle. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough because I don't know how well we'll hold up against that if I'm being honest. So that is something. It's like I said, I'll go back and say what I said before. He is clearly looking to sell his stock while the price is high, which in a lot of ways you cannot blame him for doing that. But he is if he stays, he is going to lose some supporters because it is now going to be looked at with this. I don't think anybody would hold the Texas A&M interview against him. There are going to be people who are going to hold him, even if he takes the job or not. I don't have an update on any of that stuff, but there are going to be people. There are going to be people if he stays who are going to resent him for interviewing at a U of H job, and it's going to push some people away. That's going to, you know, unsettle some of the donors. I'm sure it'll motivate some of them too to keep him happy and things like that. But you know, this stuff, man, it's political. It's an emotion. Some people give money and stuff like that off of emotion, right? And you could easily see people zipping up and folding their wallets in because, oh, okay, well, you don't want to be here. You're talking about commitment this, commitment that. What's going on, right? So, listen, coaches interviewing is not an abnormal thing. It happens. It has not been a thing that's something that UTSA has experienced because we have the coaches that we've had prior have overstayed their welcome and we've let them go, right? We've parted ways with them. And now that we are in a situation now where, well, we have a coach, he's a really good coach. We don't want to part ways with him, and he's looking to part ways with us because of a lack of resources, right? So, you know, it is very unfortunate. We'll see how it plays out. We will be doing the live chat tomorrow. I want to just plug that here again. So be there for that. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this, honestly. I purposely stay away from some of the Twitter stuff sometimes just because of how toxic it can be. But yeah, man, I appreciate you guys for watching.